If you're here to learn more about the Action 52, please check out my video on it linked in the description. It's worth it, look at all the good reviews it got. If you're here for the Cheetamen, stay right here. Don't move. Please, I need the moral support. Yes, I am back, and only slightly hungover. Maybe still a little bit drunk. On my last video, we went all the way through the first 51 games of the Action 52, so now I guess it's time to look at the 52nd game. The infamous Cheetamen. Action 52 didn't start up with the idea of these Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle knockoffs. Both the Action 52 prototype and the final released instruction book list the final game, number 52, as Action Game Master, not Cheetamen at all. Initially, Game 52 was just going to be the player, called the Action Game Master, beating the harshest level from each of the previous Action 52 games, which would, to be fair, certainly be a slog. At some point during Action 52's development, however, the brains behind the whole thing and owner of Active Enterprises, Vince Perry, asked the developers to throw in something a bit like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You know, something that he could really market. Like I said before, this guy really knew business, not so much the industry he was dabbling in. So the Cheetamen were created presumably by the 4 young developers working on the Action 52 and then shoehorned into the Action Game Master slot. According to the instruction book, the Action Game Master was originally still gonna battle each of the hardest levels on the previous games, but by changing into the 3 Cheetamen. So at some point along the line, Vince Perry put his foot down and wanted them to have their own standalone game. That must have been a real pain in the arse for the team that thought they were done at 51 games. I mean, you can't knock Perry for having big goals, but his way of making the Action 52 was to take 4 young student developers, put them on an NES development course for a week, and then probably just chuck them in a room for 3 months and occasionally check to see if they're still alive. Not even joking, that is what happened. But if we're going to be absolutely fair, the Cheetamen game is probably the one that had the most effort put into it out of all the other ones on the cartridge. So before we play the game, let's learn a little bit about the Cheetamen. Oh yes, it's going to be one of my thorough reviews. Let me just quickly, let me just look at Wikipedia for a second. Let me just... In 1991, Action 52 was released with an accompanying comic book, which some beautiful bastard has uploaded onto Internet Archive. I'll put a link in the description, because it's really something. It tells the origin story of the Cheetamen. There's this bad guy called Dr. Morbis, who looks like he hasn't had a square meal in a long time. He's killed a mother cheetah and then taken the babies to experiment on. Bastard. And they grow up into half men, half cheetah. Hercules, Ares, and Apollo. All of them are absolutely ripped and do not have nipples. And now I'm realising how weird it is that that is the first thing I noticed in this picture of 3 half-human, half-cheetah things with a bow. So when Mr. Metheny here asks them to go and ransack a village, they refuse, and as punishment, he sends them off into the wilderness to survive on their own. Which seems a bit of a stupid idea. I mean, I'm not an expert in being an evil genius, yet, but that seems like a stupid idea. Oh sure, I'll just raise some terrifying cat-human things and then after 15 years throw them out when they have the gall to answer back one time. Off you go lads, piss off, go on, you're technically adults now, and I want my single person's council tax discount back. And then the Cheetamen suddenly remember that Dr. Morbis killed their mother. So they go back and ask him what the hell his deal is. Only to find that in those, few minutes that they've been gone, he's already made some more human hybrids. My god, he's moving on to some other freaks already. That is cold as hell. Reminds me of my last breakup. I'm sorry, but how did that rhino get so ripped? And where are his damn nipples? Sir, I doubt the veracity of your story where animals turn into human things and wear vests and a little belt. Well now, Dr. Morbis and the Cheetamen have sworn to kill each other. And there you go, that's your intro. Made no sense, but look, who cares? Look, there was going to be action figures made for this crap. There was a whole set of gubbins planned for the Cheetamen, all from the brain of Vince Perry, resident mad lad. Perry was a businessman with zero understanding of the industry he was dabbling in, or the concept of quality over quantity. So basically like a modern day digital marketer. Active Enterprises actually mention a syndicated TV cartoon series that they waxed lyrical about in a flyer sent out to potential distributors of the Action 52. Active Enterprises say in the flyer that they've invested in a short Disney-quality cartoon to advertise the Action 52 game. Presumably, they mean this god-awful advert, with some excellent voice acting.
I say, dear chap, shouldn't you go on a diet?
Are you talking to me? Maybe if these guys would make these holes bigger, I could fit easy, know what I'm saying?
Hey man, I'll help you out.
No, Aries, no.
Oh, I'm the big stupid one. I can't get out of here. I am a well-spoken male with overtones of homosexuality.
I'm the zany one.
Alright, the animation isn't that bad, but it is kinda crap overall, isn't it? This advert was uploaded by one of the original developers of the Action 52 games, Mario Gonzalez. Got it from an interview with Arcade Attack in 2017, which is in the description and you should read, it is really interesting. Apparently this commercial was never aired, which makes sense since the gameplay is shown, and even in the little snippets you can see how bad it is. Well, it seems a waste of money to commission it though. I wonder what happened here. I wonder if it was business. So good at business, Vince Perry. So here we go, let's play this bad boy. Ooh, an intro. Some kid is dragged into the TV by a robot arm, the arm of one of the bad guys from the comic strip actually. But when he wakes up, there's 3 Cheetamen there. They say they will fight for him, and then they just leave. Now, I'm not an expert in search and rescue, but isn't it a little bit weird that that was their response to finding a lone child lost in the wilderness? You guys aren't gonna call the police or anything? No? Alright, come on, level 1. We are playing as Ares. Now, our guy here can't jump. He can only attack by doing this weird maraca shake. Very similar to the maraca shake that idiot in Ninja Assault was doing. Look out for the dog, look out for the dog! Oh, intestines. All the enemies are from the previous games on the cartridge. Look, there's that arse spaceship from one of the other games. Most of the enemies just go in a straight line, but this sodding bat just goes for you, and it's really hard to get the right angle to hit the frigger. And it's the same story for anything that moves quickly, actually. Plus, while Ares has a certain amount of hit points, I have no idea how many he has left, or even how many he had in the first place, because there's nothing anywhere to indicate either of those very helpful little snippets of information. If you get hit, he makes this sound. But if you manage to hit the enemy first, it makes this sound. That's really all you have to tell you whether you've been hit or not. There's not a cooldown animation for when our guy gets hit or anything like that. What is with all these pits? I'm just moving around big holes in the floor while avoiding totally uninterested baddies. Ooh, a ladder. No? I can't go up there? Oh, okay. I'll just keep going. Oh, I can't go here either. Oh, I had to go right before I could go up the ladder. Obviously. I mean, that is how it works in real life. That's the reason why you see scaffoldings always up for so long, is because the workers have to walk all the way around the block before they can go up one of the ladders. In level 2, Ares can now jump, all of a sudden. Maybe he was shy in the first level, I don't know. I can kind of see why. What is that weird noise you're making, love? Not knowing how many hit points I have left is really making me nervous. Hey! The pound shop Saddam Hussein from friggin' Storm Over the Desert is back! But now he's about 3 foot tall rather than 30. Unless, maybe the Cheetah Men are absolutely massive. This game has no rules. I'm so glad we got to see him again. I can't believe I'm saying this, but we are now approaching, for the first time in the entire Action 52, some resemblance of actual platforming here. Before, it was always just jumping across a couple of pits or up onto the one block and continuing on. Instead, we've got some actual jumping with controls that, they're not good, but they're not horrendous. They're really not good. But they aren't not human or friggin' Manchester bad. A boss fight! Wow, I feel like we're nearly playing an actual game. Oh, you bastard! I was murdered by a... What is that? I think it's supposed to be the imaginatively named hyena from the comic book here. He's actually easy to beat because he doesn't go beyond this point of the screen, so you can just smack at him when he jumps at you. I like how his attack pattern is to just jump back and forth frantically, like he's accidentally eating a ghost pepper. Mate, do you need a glass of milk? I'll get you a glass of milk. Now it's on to the next Cheetah Man. Here we are, it's Hercules. Big beefy Hercules. I can't get out of the TV show. Hercules. This guy gets a weird as hell intro screen. I can't even tell what language this must have been translated from and then back into. The only difference gameplay-wise with this guy is he's slightly bigger and therefore easier to get hit. I mean, that's pretty much it, honestly. Do you see this? Look at this absolutely pathetic excuse for a game. You can use this trick to get past the entire level easily by just jumping and punching at the right time, but I couldn't do it because I'm crap. There really is a big problem here with the mishmash of enemies. They all look so out of place, and lots of them look like they might be power-ups, because of the colour and the size of them. It's only because they pasted you in the previous games that you'd know you need to avoid them. For example, in the cartridge version of Action 52, this game, Jigsaw, just flat out doesn't work. And that game is where this little hammer guy is from. So since you've never seen it before, you'd be forgiven for thinking it's a power-up. Wishful thinking, because I would love to see a cheetah dressed like a karate teacher going mental with a hammer right now, preferably on my skull. How is a guy so big getting pasted by a tiny, tiny car and a hammer? Look at it, it's so pleased with itself. Get back in the toolbox, you prick. Fuck you, that's a tiny car! Oh, it's the end of the level. Like all Action 52 games, the end of the level isn't obviously the end of the level. It just tells you. Like that. Short and sweet, straight to the point. I dig it. Ah! What is it with Action 52 and hating people with epilepsy? There's at least 2 other games on the cartridge that start with a random flashing screen. And now, for the final f*** you, we're just full on smashing flashing lights into the actual level design of Cheetamen. Straight away, start of the level. Seizure. Oh look, our hit points are here. That was worth the wait. I don't know what they're supposed to represent, they look like overcooked bacon. Here's another really tough part of this game to get used to. Sometimes the screen doesn't move forward enough, so you have to jiggle about to get your guy back in the centre, which, by the way, is another reason the game is so hard, because the screen won't scroll unless you're in the centre rather than over to the left, which means you've got no time at all to react to things like this fucking car. Wow. Look at the rendering on that water. Look at those graphics. That's one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. You know what? Water is one of the hardest things to get right in a video game, but this, here we are, this is the pinnacle. This is pure, distilled water graphics. Oh hey look, the water actually pushes our big guy back too. We've got game physics! And we've got conveyor belt platforms that actually do make him slip around. Wow, I am impressed. This is the best example of a platforming game we have seen on this entire cartridge. By a long shot. Like miles long. Like how did you even get that in the net long? Bloody hell! Slow down, girl! Where the hell are you going that you need to get there that fast? Are you late for a bus? Is there a sale on at Sephora? I'm trying to walk here. The boss for this Cheetah Man is this rhino wearing a pair of jeans. There he is. I missed you, my guy. Still haven't found the nipples yet? Do you want to borrow mine? Again, he doesn't touch this part of the screen, so you've just got to get in there and lightly tap to face the right, and then punch him. No skill required at all. Who sells jeans to rhinos? I mean, I didn't even know they were buying them. And now on to Ares. This guy is... oh, God. He doesn't get an intro, he just gets a picture of him. But there is actually text hidden in the code somewhere, so no idea why that didn't make it into the final version. Well, now we have gained a distance weapon. But we've lost our health bar, so, you know, swings and roundabouts. This guy is just woeful. At first, I got all excited at the idea of using a ranged weapon. But it's far worse than those ridiculous melee attacks we've just had. Not only is the little line of pixels he shoots tiny, but he takes forever between shots, like he's actually restringing a bow. And to make it even worse, the enemies are mostly 1, tiny, and 2, fast as all arse. Of course, he can't crouch. So you've got things like this condom packet going absolutely mental, and it takes forever to get at just the right angle to kill the frigger. When did this become my life? I'm trying to get a cheetah dressed in a karate outfit to shoot a condom with an arrow. Look at this bullshit. My arrow went right over the head of this green guy, whoever the frig he is. And I do not stand a chance against these condom wrappers, I really don't. All I can really do is jump over them. I feel like I'm a cleaner in a Wetherspoon's toilets on a Friday night. Look at this, I need to get over this pit, right? I know I have 1 hit point left, but on the other side, there's this sodding spray bottle. Spray bottles kill Cheetamen. I can't shoot it, so I'm just gonna have to very, very carefully jump. Crap. Oh, yes! Fuck's sake. Right, got over him. There's another spray bottle in the exact same place as before! How the absolute baubles am I supposed to get past this? The only reason I've got so far is from using save states in the emulator, but by this point, I couldn't go any further. The enemies like this track your point on the screen and they just go for it, which would be fine if I was one of the other 2 Cheetamen, but when you're this idiot with his stupid dinky arrows from his stupid dinky bow, you have to put extra care into playing. You have to plan ahead, so you arrange yourself in the exact place you need to be to hit whatever it is that's coming for you, and it's just a joke. It is not fun. It's stressful as hell, especially since the enemies move so fast, and more often than not, when you finally kill one of the bastards that's been haunting you for the previous 10 minutes, another one appears from the other side of the screen and owns you. There's only 1 level after this, and it's mostly just climbing up ladders to get to this vulture thing. And guess what happens when you kill him? Guess what happens when you kill the big final boss on Cheetamen? Absolutely nothing. Yep, in true Action 52 style, it's back to the title screen. No update on what happens with Dr. Mobius, no Cheetamen walking away into the sunset, no idea what happened to the kid that got dragged through the TV, he's probably dead in a forest somewhere. You wanted a congratulations screen? Maybe a rundown of your high scores? Well, f*** you. Why? Because f*** you. But hey, why stop at 1 crappy Cheetamen game when you can have 2? Yeah, there was another one, and the only existing copies of it came in the Action 52 case with a gold sticker slapped on saying Cheetamen 2. Well, since there's just the 1 game on this cartridge, you would kind of hope that at least you'd have something, you know, playable. But of course you know it isn't playable. It was never actually released, but, you know, that's no excuse. Oh no. Always start with the bow and arrow, idiot. Once again, the hardest part of the gameplay is simply arranging yourself to be at the right angle to actually kill things. And again, so many of the enemies are too short for you to shoot them. So here we go again, it's a frantic mixture of jumping to avoid the low enemies and trying to shoot the ones that you can't physically jump over. There's so many times where you'll be sandwiched between the 2, and there's nothing you can do but take a hit. Oh, and there's fall damage. Ow, the air's so sharp. What is that? It looks like a tofu T-bone steak, which is a thing that shouldn't exist. Oh, it's gone before I can pick it up. Nice. Not that I could jump high enough to do it, you know. Took me ages to get to the second level, but here we are. Ooh, the health bar has changed design. Nice. Mixing it up a bit. Not worth doing, but nice. Oh, what is that? Why are the enemies so obviously not fitting with the Cheetamen aesthetic? Why is he shooting an arrow into a tornado? Is he planning on running for president? It's just more avoiding things that you can't kill while being killed by the things that you can. The cartridge version gets to the end of the 4th level where you fight the ape man, but then it just doesn't move on. In 2011, romhacking.net user Paco-chan released a fixed version which allowed players to play the missing levels. By the way, there was going to be 10 levels in the game, but only 6 were ever made. Not a single one of those levels are worth playing. I seriously cannot get past the first couple. I am going insane. Now, the story of the Genesis version of Action 52 isn't anywhere near as interesting as the NES version, so I'm just going to make it quick. Personally, I think it's a lot better than the NES version, but that isn't saying much. It's got considerably higher playability because the games are, for the most part, entirely functional, if a bit bland. This time, a lot of them are puzzle games, and they're not necessarily boring, but they're not like really fun. Like this one, you just have to change the colour of your ball to match the blocks and then clear the screen. It's the gaming equivalent of pulling the label off a beer bottle. It doesn't entertain you, but it keeps your fingers busy, and it makes people tell you that you're sexually frustrated. No, it doesn't mean that you're sexually frustrated. What? It genuinely doesn't. Anyway, Cheetamen didn't get pride of place on this one, perhaps because this Action 52 was handled by Farsight Studios. You know, the ones who did Colour a Dinosaur and were founded by a dude who was endorsed by Donald Trump. It's weird to play Cheetamen on the Genesis because it's so different from the NES version. Not just because it's functional, it's just sort of unremarkable. You're going around trying to rescue baby cheetahs while massive 8-foot-tall snakes and that mad nippleless rhino from the first game appear out of nowhere. It's a bad game, it's boring, but it's not utterly mind-bogglingly awful, so it doesn't have any play value. This is kind of like a car crash, isn't it? People hold up the motorway when there's been a crash because they want to look at the destruction. Cheetamen 1 and 2 on the NES is a massive 4-lane car crash where the police have cordoned off the entire road but for the hard shoulder and traffic is just trickling through and all the drivers are saying, "My God, look at that. I hope everyone's okay, but my God." Whereas Cheetamen on the Genesis, Mega Drive, is a bloke whose car's stopped working and he's rolled it as far onto the slip road off the motorway as he could, and now he's set up a warning triangle. You might say, well, that's a bloody stupid place to break down, but it won't leave a lasting impression on you. The NES versions, they leave an impression. They pretty much brand you. But guess what? There was supposedly going to be a Cheetamen 3. Yes, I'm 100% serious. It was going to be one of the pride of place games in the Action Game Master, a planned console by Active Enterprises. I'm saying planned with the biggest quotation marks because honestly, all of what I'm about to tell you just seems like marketing bravado, much like the rest of the so-called planned stuff that Active Enterprises went on about. At an entertainment expo in the early 90s, Active Enterprises had a booth and were handing out flyer packs to potential customers. It was a pack full of absolute bobbins. Here's a price list showing stuff that never got released. A Super Nintendo Action 52, the Cheetah Men action figures, some sports multi-carts, and the Action Game Master. Cheetamen 3 is the only game listed for the Action Game Master. And here it is, in all its glory. What the fuck is that thing? What the hell is going on with the buttons? How are you supposed to hold this thing? That screen is tiny! This thing was supposed to be released in 1993, which is pretty funny since this pamphlet would have been given out, in the first third of 1993. Also, the stuff it promises would have been difficult to deliver for any game company, not even a small one like Active Enterprises. The unit was supposed to play its own games, but it would also play NES carts, Mega Drive carts, and even SNES carts when used with specially purchased adapters. On top of all that, it was going to be able to play CD games, would be in full colour, and you could use it as a portable TV. This thing was going to do everything. This was gonna be the Swiss Army knife of the gaming world, and good God they're lucky they never released it in the end because Nintendo would have sued them into the year 4040. So good at business, Vince Perry. But all Active Enterprises was about was so-called plans. The entire brochure goes on and on about things that are planned. How many of these things were actually properly planned, in development, and not just written about in marketing material to make out there was some money-making powerhouse? It's all hot air and no substance. So Cheetamen 3? They probably mentioned it in the office at some point and then put it in marketing material purely to bulk it out. The marketing documents for the Action 52 actually say, imagine the happiness a child will have playing a new game every week for a year, all at a fraction of the cost of other new games. Yeah, I mean, that kid will totally not grow up to murder their parents. I don't know what Active Enterprises is saying, having to play one of these games all week. I think I'd rather put my penis in a pencil sharpener. I wonder what game would be my birthday week. Week 31, let's see. Hey, Fuzz Power! Ah, what a birthday week. Yeah, I would have killed myself by that point. Happy birthday to me. You know what, the whole Action 52 saga does kind of come across like Vince Perry was taking advantage of some young, doe-eyed developers and the parents who were going to rent or buy the game. And yeah, I mean, he probably kind of was. He was a businessman. He saw pound signs and that kind of got in the way of something, half decent. But I do think that he genuinely did want to make something good. Kind of. And to be fair, all told, according to the 4 young developers that made Action 52, they have fond memories of working on it. They don't seem to be even slightly traumatised, which is more than could be said for me. Well, like a lot of big companies, Active Enterprises had a big mouth, made a lot of promises that probably half intended to keep, but were never going to. That's business, baby. So good at business. Well, I guess that's it for the Cheetamen. I hope. Hey, you know what? I think I will need that pencil sharpener after all. Thank you for watching. I've got a date. Hey, hot stuff. Wait, how did you get in?